Okay, so we have a fully functioning continuous motion projectile simulator, and now the only thing that's left at all is if we want it to be a little more user-friendly, we should really have some buttons so that the user can just click on them. They don't have to come in here and know any code to change anything or to do anything. They don't have to know which keys to press necessarily. So we're going to do that. And this actually, it turns out, this is, you already know, for the most part, you already know everything that you need to. There's just one or two new functions we're going to address. To do this. It's pretty straightforward. The only thing that we have to do really is add a whole bunch of new sprites, because every one of those buttons is going to be a new sprite that we want to be able to interact with. So for the most part, adding all those different buttons isn't difficult. It's just kind of tedious, right? Sometimes programming is just putting in the work, right? You don't have to, not all of it's thinking about how you're going to do something. It's just being willing to kind of force through. So that's kind of what this is. Before we do that, though, I want to add a couple of things. We're going to soft code that horizontal speed. So we're going to set a new variable. I'm going to call it active horizontal speed. Again, you can call it whatever you'd like. I'm going to set that to 50, and I'm going to call another one active vertical accel. For the active vertical acceleration, I'm going to set that to 10. And so we're going to go through and we're going to soft code those things that we should have soft coded to start with, because we want to be able to change the horizontal speed without having to change it at like 8 different places. Right now we can really see the benefit to soft coding in the first place, because now I have to go through, and anywhere that I have 50, if I'm changing the horizontal speed to 50, I want to switch that over so that it now will set it to whatever I have determined I want my horizontal velocity to be. So I'm going to change it here. Change it here. 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 Okay, so 4 places. That makes sense. We only press the H key in 4 different, or the H or C key in 4 different locations. So that should be good for setting setting the velocity. I might be missing something, but hopefully not. If I am, maybe you catch it before I do. And likewise, we are going to, anytime we set the acceleration to 10 right now, where'd it go? We're going to change it so that we set it to whatever the user defined to be the Y acceleration. So this should be when we press the V key. Oh, haven't gone far enough. Okay, so when we press the V key, we're going to set this to our active vertical acceleration. Same thing here. Or if we press the C key, we're going to do that. Okay, so now we can change that on the fly. Very good. And I've actually, so we just need to add in a bunch of buttons. And to kind of streamline the video portion, I mean, you won't have this luxury, but I've already programmed this once. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, okay, so here we have our sprites that we need to define. And I'm going to take right from my other script that I've already done here. There's my variables. Here's my, okay, so I've got buttons. So I'm going to make sure that you can see each of these, but I'm just going to copy these over. And I'm going to paste them in place here. So you will need a reset button, and you will need to set it to the image that is the reset PNG image. You'll need a button for adding 1 to the horizontal velocity, adding 10 to the horizontal velocity, subtracting 1, subtracting 10, adding 1 to the vertical acceleration, adding 10, subtracting 1, subtracting 10. You'll need a vectors on, a vectors off button, a manual on, a manual off button, an H button for being able to start horizontal motion, V button for starting vertical, C button for starting combined, a clear button, and the clear and the reset are going to be different, because reset is going to do what our current pressing the R key does, and the clear button is going to reset things completely to scratch. It's going to remove all the indicators. It's going to clear absolutely everything, so they're a little bit different. We're going to want a zoom 1, a zoom 2, and a zoom 3 button. Right? So make sure that you've programmed all of those. And because some of ours are little toggles, we're going to toggle, for instance, the vectors on and off. I've added little highlighted versions in there as well, and so you can do this add sprite image. So you can see that's the one of the things that we're learning here. Add sprite image, again lowercase at first and then uppercase for each of those. And the way this works is you type in the name of the sprite that you're wanting to add an image to, and you add the new image as well. And so from here on out, we'll be able to toggle, for instance, the manual on button. We'll be able to toggle so that it's glowing or not. So when they click on it, we're going to have it glow. When they click on the off button, we're going to have it stop glowing. So that's why we're adding second images to some of those buttons. Okay, likewise, under the displaying sprites section, I need to make sure that I turn those sprites on. Okay, and somewhere, oh, I haven't had to yet. Right underneath of display sprites, we're going to go ahead and move sprites, because these buttons we're going to need to move sprites to, I might as well just do the same thing I did last time, where we want them. Again, this is a way of me not having to think through. I had to go through and think through where I positioned all of these things. You can, again, as always, it's your simulator. If you don't like where I've put them somewhere else, right? But here's, so I put the VXL plus 1. Let me see if I can't get my mouse to kind of, okay. The VXL plus 1 I put here at screen width minus 80, screen height minus 175. Here's where I put the plus 10. I'm just going to go through each of these so that you can see them. Pause the video as you need to, and position your buttons where I have positioned mine. Okay? And so I'm going to move over each one of these so that you can pause the video at each one of the buttons that I've made and type that in, and yours will show up exactly where mine is. And again, here you can really see the value to the fact that we hard or soft-coded screen width and screen height. Because you can imagine trying to, now that we've got 20 buttons or however many buttons we have on here, if you ever needed to move, if you ever wanted to resize your screen, you might cut off 13 buttons and you have to move all of them. But doing it this way, the buttons will move with however wide your screen is and however high your screen is. So it's just a lot easier. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and run this as it is. And so my buttons are showing up where I wanted them. We've made all of these little buttons now, and again, it's just kind of a bit of a process. But I'm missing some labels here. I'm missing what these on and off buttons do. I'm missing like a value in here. So we're going to need to add some extra labels as well. And so again, I'm going to kind of take the lazy man's way out here, because I know I've already done it. So I'm going to find the labels that I need, which are right here. I'm going to find my labels in this script. Did I not make any labels? Of course I did. Here we go. Okay. I'm going to add these labels in. And I have two at the bottom here that I need to add as well. I'll go ahead and, again, I'll mouse over these so you can see them, see what I did here. So we have, of course, which manual mode. It's just going to say manual mode, so it'll show you where to toggle, what these on and off buttons do. And I have set that to this value, these values here: screen width minus 200, screen height minus 320. Same thing with the vector display. It's just going to always read visible vectors, and it's going to be right above those on-off buttons. And I positioned it here. Likewise, just again to give the user some kind of sort of feedback, I have an HVEL and a V acceleration display. Those will just always read set horizontal velocity, set vertical acceleration, and I positioned them at these locations here. And excuse me. Finally, I have readouts. HVEL readouts and V acceleration readouts, and so these are the ones that are actually going to change when you push the +1 or +10 button. It's going to change. I've just got them set at 0. Eventually we'll just have that change automatically when the script starts to whatever the active horizontal velocity and the active vertical acceleration is, and I positioned them right here. So again, we'll need to display them as well. So I'm going to come down here. Always make sure that you are drawing what you added. So I'm going to hit the show label there, and I'm going to copy and paste this as well. Okay, and if we run this now, we've added those buttons, and we've also added, again, just kind of some stuff for our users, so they can see these two refer to the whether we're in manual or in automatic or continuous. And here we have the vectors on and off, set horizontal velocity, set vertical acceleration, etc. I'm not sure that I'm in love with, oh, but you know, when we add the, with 0, it's kind of off to the left there, it's not centered, so I'm not in love with that position right now, but when we add new digits, so when this becomes a 2-digit number, it's going to add that second digit to the right of it, and if we ever go with a 3-digit number, it's going to be to the right again. So this position actually works kind of well, because we can keep adding, we can go all the way up to a 3-digit number without running into problems here. So okay, so that's enough for this video. We'll actually worry about making these buttons do things in the next video, but here, because again, it was pretty quick because I copied and pasted so much, but you guys, if you want to add these buttons the first time through, you'll have to actually type all that out, and so this will be quite the process. So we'll just go ahead and stop this here, and we'll worry about actually coding these buttons in the next one.